Hey guys, it's Jared. Today I want to show you what I think is one of the best ways that you can sharpen your chainsaw. At least one of the best ways I have found. Now, does that mean that none of the other methods work? No, there are plenty of methods out there. There's just regular hand files, there are hand files with guides, there are Dremel attachments, there are little 12-volt motors, and then you have the big actual chainsaw sharpeners made by Harbor Freight, Oregon, and many others. But this tool is made by Stihl and includes many features and cuts out a lot of steps with the other methods. Most of the purists say that they love to be able to hand file their chains, which is an important step and a skill that you need to know in order to be able to touch up your chain and sharpen it while you're in the woods. Part of the problem with hand files is you have to do at least a couple things. Number one, you have to make sure that you get your grind angle right. Number two, you need to make sure that you are filing up underneath the tool and not getting down into your drive links. You can't just lay it in there and grind, or you're going to start grinding away at your drive links, which you don't want. That top edge is what cuts, so you need to be able to file up underneath there. You also have to follow up with that and grind down your rakers. If you sharpen your teeth too many times and don't file down your rakers, you're not going to be taking very much wood off with each pass of the tooth. Dremels, the same type of problems, but since those are driven by a motor instead of just a hand file, they can exacerbate the problem even more of grind angles, getting down in your drive links and such. Same way with the 12-volt. I don't like those either. There's too many ways that those can go wrong. A nice dedicated chainsaw sharpener is super nice, but you don't have to buy one or take your chain somewhere and have it done, which is great to have it done and touched up and get all of your teeth back into the same shape every once in a while. But that's not something you can easily take to the woods with you. This tool does everything in one. You have the nice flat bars here, which ride on the teeth, both the tooth you are filing and the tooth beside it. Has a round file to file the sharpening edge of the tooth, and then has a flat file set at the correct depth to also file your rakers. It's got a nice little arrow that tells you which direction that needs to go, and the angle is what you need to keep parallel. Well, you can tell here, obviously I would not be doing that correct for the teeth that are facing me, so I would need to go with this direction, and then I can file the teeth going away from me, keeping this angle parallel to the bar the entire time. Then the only thing that you really have to worry about is making sure that you keep the tool perpendicular to your bar, and it's really difficult to get it off too much in either direction this way, and then just provide a few strokes. These do pop open, and the items are replaceable. So once you buy one of these tools, it's not like you have to go buy another one over and over and over. If somehow you break it or wear it out or whatever, you can replace the individual parts in there. And I got this at my local dealer, Fackler Country Gardens, who is my local Kubota dealer and Stihl dealer, and they had all three sizes in stock. I do not have one of the 3 size chains on either one of my chainsaws, but I do have the 3/8 Pico, which is what is on my MS211, and then I have the standard 3/8. I've used this already a handful of times, and I gotta tell you, it's honestly fantastic. I absolutely love it. I don't have to worry about making sure that I'm getting the right cut angle on the teeth. When I started using this, I noticed that I had started to drift and some of my teeth were not at the right angle anymore. So as I sharpen this, those teeth are getting corrected, and I'm making sure that my rakers are at the correct depth. I purchased a depth gauge for the rakers and ground or filed the rakers down on this saw, but I had touched up my 211 by hand before purchasing that gauge, and found that I filed down my rakers a little bit too far, and I was able to hold it. Thank God it wasn't on a saw that was too powerful, because it wanted to grab hard. The chain was nice and sharp, and it just wanted to dig in and grab, take huge chunks. So that's getting, once again, slowly corrected as I file the teeth, and am not taking anything really off the rakers with every pass of the tool. But having a tool like this will take that risk completely out of the equation. So we're going to file a few teeth here, and then I'll just show you what I do, and I'll speed it up, we'll flip it around, we'll do a few on the other side. If you don't have one of these, I would highly recommend that you get one. This is what they call a stump vise. Just has a couple sharp legs on the bottom, and you can use a soft mallet, or you can just use a chunk of wood and you just pound it into any stump or log that's laying around and use it to hold your bar. Because it is, I've sharpened this several times holding it by hand on the tailgate of the RTV, but you know, it wants to rock, wants to move, and then you have to worry about keeping everything all in the same plane and doing it correctly. Whereas if I have it mounted to the nice stump vise, I don't have to worry about that anywhere near as often. So what I always do anytime I sharpen a chain, I look for the paint mark and I start there. Start with the tooth behind it, pushing it out as I go, knowing that when I come back to that paint mark, I'm done. So we're going to sit this in there. That bottom round file is against that tooth, and I just take it over. About 3 passes on each tooth is what I do normally. And you can feel what kind of shape your tooth is in. If your tooth is really bad, you'll feel the file grabbing, but if it's fairly sharp, you'll feel it wanting to just skate along the tooth edge a little bit more easily. And don't put a whole lot of pressure on the file. You're not trying to grind, or file the heck out of it. You just want to put a nice cutting edge on it. Now, one thing that might be hard to notice from your perspective is, just because of the way I have the vise and the stump I'm on, my chainsaw bar is actually tilted, I'm exaggerating, but that way a little bit. So I have to make sure I'm not holding my file just completely horizontal. I need to be perpendicular to the actual vise. Or to the bar, sorry. Okay, a couple more teeth. Okay, now we can go the other direction, which I could turn the chainsaw and everything around, move the stump vise, or do whatever. I think I'll move the camera around, and then we'll just come at it from the other direction. So once again, what I've done now is I've had to flip the tool over to get the correct angle for the teeth on this side. So I'll start with the first tooth behind the paint mark. That tooth was really bad. I really got off skew with it on the hand filing. Evidently it's really a much sharper angle than what it should be. Okay, back to the beginning. I mean, as you can see, it's very quick and painless. And I just know from having used it last couple sharpenings that, this thing's going to go out and be just absolutely razor sharp and do very well in just a matter of a few minutes of sharpening. And I don't have to worry about whether or not I have the right angle, whether or not my rakers are filed down. It's going to be exactly where it needs to be to cut properly. One more thing I would like to add, hopefully you saw me do, as you file, set the file in there, take your pass, take the file out. Don't drag backwards. Not only is it not good for your tooth, it's not good for the file. Files are machined to go a particular direction. The teeth are angled. Don't back drag it, or you're gonna it's almost like running a chain backwards or a bandsaw blade backwards. You're just gonna take the cutting edge off of everything, so don't do that. Take your pass, lift it up out, then take your next pass and do it again. Just do it however many times per tooth, and work your way through, and you'll get the hang of it in no time at all. Well, hope you guys liked the video. Get out, go to your local Stihl dealer, buy yourself a couple of those sharpeners, whatever fits your chainsaw. Do me a big favor, hit the thumbs up, comment on the video, subscribe to it, and get notifications of all future and upcoming videos. Thanks a lot, everybody. I'm Jared. Remember, anything worth doing is worth overdoing. Have a great day.